I'm even going to put a trigger warning for this story. Unaliving. Very sad as well. The title is Bought My First House and Found Out It Was Haunted. I bought my first house in 2003 and was over the moon. Shortly after moving in, 2 of my neighbors began joking with me about the ghost in my house. Well, I thought they were joking, so I just played along pretending I had seen one, and it was no big deal. Well, as time went on that summer, I met more and more of my neighbors, and they all brought up the same topic. Finally, an elderly woman on the block who was quite kind and friendly told me a story after I'd asked her. I knew she wasn't going to screw with my head, which is why I asked in the first place. Turned out the previous owner purchased the home and never lived there because she said it was haunted. Sounds in the night of footsteps and sobbing, and glimpses of a man sitting in the kitchen covered in blood. One of my neighbors helped with the renovations of the house and said he was putting up drywall when he felt something lift up his dreadlocks. Though I've had paranormal experiences before, it had been years, and by then I just chalked it up to the night terrors. One day, I went to a small neighborhood video store to rent a movie. I had to fill out a form with my demographic data, and then my credit card info. The owner of the store looked at the form and said, "Oh my God, you live in that house?" I asked her what she meant, and she explained that her former employee had committed suicide in my house. She came to the house as soon as she'd heard, but the house had been taped off by police as a potential crime scene. She told me that he had just moved into the house with his partner and called his mom because he wanted to invite her over to meet his partner and came out to her. This was in the early 90s when being gay was a big deal. His mother already knew he was gay because he bought a house with a man and disowned him right over the phone. That same week, he received a letter from an HIV testing center stating he had tested positive for HIV. This is when HIV was a death sentence. He then sat at the kitchen table, ate a bowl of cereal, and shot himself in the head with a revolver. Since then, she's had multiple paranormal experiences in the store, with videos flying off the shelves and even levitating off shelves. The most I have experienced is sounds at night. Sounds of Cheerios being poured into a bowl. I don't eat cereal. And sounds of sobbing in the kitchen. I often awaken to both. I remember my grandmother saying, "When the dead come to you, they want something. Perform an act of charity in their name and pray for them." So I did. I sat down at the kitchen table one night and lit a candle and told him that each night I would recite a novena prayer for him before a lit candle. On the 9th night of the first novena to St. Anthony, patron saint of lost souls, I heard uncontrollable sobbing. I felt a strong presence of grief and despair and the sound of hyperventilating breathing, as though someone could not catch their breath. I sat in the presence of this knowing it was not malignant, but rather a connection of intimacy and compassion of which he was in need. For 45 days, I said a novena prayer before a lit candle for his soul, and had a mass said in his name. A few times I had awakened to feel his presence standing over my bed, but knew it was not a malignant presence. This still happens from time to time, but less and less frequently. Okay, that's freaking sad as hell. That's terrible. I hated that so much. The top comment says, "Oh my, so sad. I feel this poor soul. I feel for this poor lost soul and OP's lost hours of sleep. He was really wanting acceptance from his mama. That's what's heartbreaking. Maybe starting a foundation in support of LGBTQ with HIV or a donation in his honor. That would be so sweet and nice. I'm saddened because I'm a mother and I couldn't imagine turning any of my babies away. Only because of who they love or who they are. I love them with an open heart. It's unconditional. I hope OP can find a way to help this lost soul find peace. You're an amazing person, OP." OP said, "That's a good idea. Too bad he didn't have a mother like you. Poor thing was only 23 years old." I second this. Maybe this act of charity would help the ghost move on. OP said, "Charity is an act of love and caring. Every message of communication should carry with it, at the very least, an implicit conveyance of unconditional positive regard and unconditional love. Saint Therese of Lisieux? I don't know. Why am I about to cry? Actually, because that is not that long ago for people to be like going through stuff like that because of their sexual orientation and their I can't actually. I'm gonna cry. Maybe if you can't start one, since I think there's a lot of work that goes into that, you could donate to one. And then Opie said, no, an act of charity is as simple as buying a sandwich for a homeless person or just devoting prayer to them. It's very simple. Well, I hope that spirit found peace. That's all I really have to say about that story, because that is literally one of the most heartbreaking things I've ever heard. That's the end. That's the last story. That was kind of depressing. A lot of that was a lot of depression. I'm so sorry, guys. But what are you gonna do? Happy spooky season. I hope you guys have the best October ever. I'm not looking forward to the end of spooky season. Like, I'm going to be actually really depressed and sad. Even though, like, usually I'm excited to decorate for Christmas and stuff. But, like, no, I'm just, like, really in spooky season mode. And I don't think it's ever going to go away. So, I love you guys, though. Let me know what you thought about those stories, please, in the comments. Love you guys so much. And I'll talk to you in the next episode. Bye. If you want extra content weekly, head over to patreon.com/storytimesociety and become a member on there for extra content. Love you. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.